This is Eric Erb from The Eric Erb Show Live. You can find me online at theericerbshow.com and, of course, twitter.com/The Eric Erb Show. You can also find me on Spreaker. That's Spreaker.com/The Eric Erb Show Live. And, of course, on Anchor. That's Anchor.fm, Anchor.fm/The Eric Erb Show Live. I want to talk to you today about something that's been on my mind for a while. It is an issue that's gone on and on and on and on and continues to get worse. The tyranny of big tech and big tech, the censorship throughout America. This article is from naturalnews.com, and it says, it's dated, of course, May 27th, 2020. Shut them down. It's time to end the tyranny of big tech censorship in America. And this article is from naturalnews.com. The article goes on. I'll just paraphrase it and try to sum up the article here as best as I possibly can. The article starts out, the tyranny of big tech is now falling on the display in America as Twitter has unleashed an army of so-called fact checkers, i.e. left-wing propagandists, to place fact-check labels on the tweets of President Trump. Fact-checking is just a good excuse, or just the excuse, for tech giants like Twitter, Google, Wikipedia, Facebook, YouTube to interrupt communications of the conservative pro-Trump users and radical left-wing propaganda messages. The very idea that a tech company led by communists and radical left-wing socialists could claim a monopoly on facts is absurd. No one has a monopoly on the facts, and the entire fact-checking fiasco of the big tech ecosystem, or ecosystem, either one, has boiled down to politically targeted censorships ran by radical left-wing propagandists who are truly and mentally ill to the fact that they are actually believe their own delusions an accurate map of reality. So in other words, they believe their own delusions. They're living in a delusional world, and they believe their own reality in their own little delusional world. And let me read on here as I sum this up. But more than mere propaganda, it's election rigging. It's a violation of the civil rights of millions of Americans, and it's almost certainly a type of criminal racketeering and fraud that should be aggressively prosecuted by the DOJ as well as attorney generals across all 50 states. And now, for the first time after years of censorship, Trump supporters and the president himself is finally vowing to do something decisive about the big tech tyranny. He tweets, Twitter, and has shown that everything we have been saying about them and other compatriots is correct. Big action to follow. Well, we'll see, folks. We'll see how much the big action is. We don't want talk. We want friggin' action. We've gone through this, the Russiagate scandal. We've gone through scandal after scandal, more bullshit on top of more bullshit, and it always comes to fruition and pass. And as we discover, we find out, Trump, who many on the left think that he's quite delusional and just plain out nuts, come to find out President Trump is right. And so that's what we have to understand, that President Trump, in his own way, and only President Trump understands President Trump better than any of us do, and I can respect that. He knows what's going on, and he throws little dog bones out there, and the media just gobbles them up. Yum, 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 yum. They just eat them all up. And he sometimes baits them to get their goat and to drive them friggin' crazy. The media just eats it up. The media doesn't know how to react, so they come out and they start saying false propaganda. He calls people on the carpet. If a reporter is rude to him, he'll say, "You're rude. You're fake news. You're fake news. Who listens to your crap? You're fake news. I don't want to call on you. Go home." and the press isn't used to a 70-year-old man talking up to them, telling them to go F themselves. This is what should have happened 50 to 60 years ago. But of course, the press was maybe a little more respectful back then, back in the 60s and 70s and maybe early 80s, barely. But they were a little more respectful of the office of president. They were a little more respectful of what's going on with the president and the agenda and what we, the American people, what the president is trying to accomplish for the American people. And that's where the press has a convoluted idea that that President Trump is always out to screw them, and that's just not the case. The fact of the matter is he's really trying to do good. Sometimes President Trump, and I will say this to be fair here, sometimes President Trump just goes about it a different way than we're used to, a different way than the norm. But who gives a crap as long as the job gets done? I function and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of other people function when they go to their job. The boss might say, Eric, I don't care how you get the job done, just get the effing job done. And that's the bottom line. It's about results, results, results. We don't care for the excuses. We don't care for the contemporary BS. Just get the effing job done. And President Trump does that, and he does that over and over and over again. And that's what the problem is, that the left can't admit that, or in a state of denial constantly, and the big tech media, because President Trump's right more times than he's wrong all the time, and the media and especially big tech can't handle that. And because big tech can't handle that, they go into this mode of, we'll just censor them. We'll censor all conservatives. We'll censor everybody that's a Republican, everybody that's a conservative. They go into this crazy, batshit crazy mode all the time, where they just, any little old thing. I think I was telling in my last podcast a week or so ago, a week from yesterday, a week from Labor Day, a couple of days ago actually. Labor Day was Monday, so a week from Labor Day, I got censored 3 times and got dinged by Facebook 3 times. Once or twice posting valid coronavirus COVID-19 information. The other one was political. I got that. It's their platform, but they encourage and they push people to get on this addictive platform. At least Facebook does, and people get on it over and over and over. I was going through a philosophical biblical debate the last couple days on Facebook, something that I don't normally do, with an old classmate of mine up in Michigan that I've known for 35 years. He's a good friend, and we were going back and forth, and we agree from an ideology standpoint about religious freedoms and biblical information in the Bible and different things like that. But then it comes down to we're starting to split hairs, and on something like that, when you're just so close, I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not going to try to convince anybody. This is my belief in God and my belief in the Bible, and this example that I'm using, like with Facebook, and that's how it is. And you can have your belief, and I respect you, but don't infringe on my belief. Respect me, please. So people have different ideologies, philosophies, and different feelings. A lot of people operate just at how they feel, which I like to say that's a very, very a gray area. You should operate more on facts, but unfortunately there aren't a lot of us left that operate on facts and the here and the now and the facts in front of us and different things like that. They always operate on mooey gooey, mushy feelings, and that's kind of where we're at today. Just like with the Facebook, with the Google, with the YouTube, with the Instagram, even with Pinterest. It's the same damn thing. Somebody might not like something that you write, and so again, big tech and the bots and the censors, just like on Facebook and all these other things, and the algorithm is trained to look at keywords. They're trained to look at keywords, and they don't like this. Like if you see Trump, well, there's been 10,000 posts to Trump, so this is 10,199, so we don't want to see that anymore on Twitter. It's flooding the timeline, so let's start taking off the word Trump. Or we don't want to see that there's something there that might be like the word Democrat with hashtags. We don't want to see the word Democrat with hashtags. We don't want to see coronavirus. We don't want to see the word COVID-19. We don't want to see the word fake news. We don't want to see the word plandemic. We don't want to see these key buzzwords and stuff like that. So these are different things, different words that big tech is censoring people. And I mean, it goes on and on. There's millions and millions and millions of words out there. Big tech has programmed into their algorithms and their bots that censor people on a day-to-day, second-by-second, minute-by-minute basis. Let me just finish the rest of this article here. Back to naturalnews.com. It says why President Trump must seize the domain names of google.com, twitter.com, wikipedia.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com, even vmo.com, and many, many, many more, because the politically targeted censorship of the tech giants mentioned above, of course, is criminal and fraudulent. It's election rigging for starters, and Robert Mueller's investigation, so-called Russian content farms, has already approved that the DOJ can charge companies with the attempt to defraud the United States of America by interfering in elections. All left-wing tech giants are guilty of election rigging, which means they're guilty of criminal fraud. The CEOs of tech giant are not merely criminals, but enemies against humanity. But that's only the beginning. In many cases, their politically targeted censorship is coordinated with the left-wing media. CNN broadcast a segment during Facebook ban, but a certain channel and Facebook complies. YouTube, Twitter usually follow in concert. This is a coordinated, malicious deplatforming that's almost always conducted for political purpose, to silence pro-Trump voice, and thereby the landscape of the public debate in order to eliminate Trump in the next election. So let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you think of the podcast. I'm definitely for having the DOJ, the Department of Justice, look into allegations right away of big tech censor, and definitely file criminal lawsuits against these people. It's a crime what they do. It's a crime that they silence humanity. It's a crime for the censorship, because you have one person cries, and the whole entire all of Google or all of Facebook or all of whatever social media platform you're on decides to penalize them because one or two or three people cry. That's not how censorship works. Censorship should work if it's true hate speech. In other words, a quick example. I hate you. Okay, well, that's not hate speech. I'm being silly. I hate you. I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to kill you. Now we're getting a little more serious here. Now there's been not only hate speech, but there's threat behind hate speech. Somebody saying there's a violent force in that example would be something that you would definitely want to red flag. You would want to probably red flag. You would want to, the individual that said that, you might even want to go back and forth. The company would want to email them according to the policies. We have to define hate speech. If there's hate speech just being silly, I hate you, like, the Family Guy, like Stewie would say to his mother there on the Family Guy, I hate you, being something stupid. That's pathetic, and that's absolutely absurd. But again, in this example, I hate you, I'm going to come over and kill you, I know where you live in blah, 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 Florida. I'm going to kill you. That is something, hate speech, not only on top of hate speech, that's a threat. And we seem to not be able to, that should not be allowed, by the way, at all. That should be banned immediately. When after a thorough investigation, people are saying that and saying they're going to come over and physically do you, physically harm and abuse and stuff like that, especially kill you. That stuff should be banned. But there's just no common sense, again, because the left is running the left is running the tech giants. The tech giants are all lean extreme left, far left, and because of that, they have they can't seem to figure out. They have no disconcern, and they cannot seem to figure out any common sense, any intellectual thinking whatsoever. They have zero logic is guiding them. It's all based on emotions and how their ooey gooey squishy feelings are feeling for today. And that's how the left governs, and that's how they run their businesses. It's how I feel today, not how I feel tomorrow. It's just like, well, whatever you're feeling today. If they're in a bad mood today, then everybody gets censored. If they're in somewhat of a lenient mood or they feel sorry, then they might let something slide. But that's how they govern. That's exactly how they govern. Inconsistency. And that's why the Department of Justice needs to go after these tech companies. This is Eric Erb from the Eric Erb Show Live. Let me know what you think of the podcast. You can find me online at theericerbshow.com, twitter.com/The Eric Erb Show. Find me on Anchor, that's anchor.fm, anchor.fm/The Eric Erb Show Live. And of course, Spreaker.com/The Eric Erb Show Live. This is Eric Erb from the Eric Erb Show. Like, share, subscribe. Even donate. Your donations go a long way. Take care and God bless. I'm out of here.